Off for a week. It is good to be back. I'm changing the settings up on my ring light to decide which one I like best for today. So I want to bring you a witchy weather report of quality. I am wearing my Fat Feminist Witch shirt. It says ranting, raving, and wand waving. If you are not familiar with the Fat Feminist Witch, you should be. She's super awesome. It's a podcast you can subscribe to anywhere you listen to and enjoy podcasts. Hey, Johnny Whiskers, thank you for tuning in. I'll be reading to you today from the Tarot of the Cloisters, a beautiful, round, stained glassy kind of deck. And I am going to go ahead and share this broadcast a couple places because I know twice now in the last couple months I have had to cancel the Witchy Weather Report for other things. And I know consistency makes a big difference. People forget to tune in if you're not there every week. I do understand this. Good morning. Good morning, Judith. All right. So while I am sharing this broadcast, I would like for you to please answer me these questions 3. How are you feeling today? 2. Did you do anything for the full moon last night, or are you planning to? Because it's not too late. It's never too late. 3. Are you staying hydrated? It's important to stay hydrated, kiddos. Hydration checkpoint.
In the same spirit. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Mr. Witchy Weather Report has just brought me my coffee. I am very, very grateful. A good witch is a caffeinated witch. Oh, yeah. That's how to make an offering to your local witch. Bring them coffee. 9 comments. Hello, new friends. Noreen. Hello, good to see you. Good to see you back. Brittany, hello, good morning. Anna. Oh, Anna's answers to the questions in order. Ugh, no, and kinda. Does mint tea count? Yes, mint tea counts, and I'm sorry your tummy is not feeling well. Oh, Judith says, good morning, Sir Hubs.
More?
No, I'm good. I'm perfect.
Good morning, Judith.
I don't know if you can hear him, but he just said, good morning, Judith. He just came by specifically to ask me if he got the ratio of half and half to coffee correct. This one's a keeper, my friends. Brittany says, I'm feeling mega burned out. I haven't done anything yet for the full moon, and I'm refilling my water bottle as we speak. Big mood. I will let you know I also did not do anything yet for the full moon. It's been a real busy time. I had a day off yesterday, which is really weird as a musician to have a day off on a Friday. That's just crazy. And I really took advantage, and I just like kind of made it a lazy day. We watched a movie. Matter of fact, Judith, we watched the movie you gave me. And that was really nice. And I took a bath. It was that kind of a day. It was a take care of Rory day. And I think I need to have more of those because I feel really good. All right, let's get this broadcast shared a couple places so we can begin. I am reading again today with Tarot of the Cloisters. A few of you have already done this, but if you would like for me to pull a card for you, the secret code that we use is to put a cat in the chat or just type the word meow. And we use that secret code because inevitably when someone comes on who's new and says, pull a card for me, please, then we get all these spammers. They must be like searching, for certain terms. We get spammers who come in and like, start kind of harassing people and replying to them and be like, DM me for accurate reading. And it's like, we don't need that spam life in here. This is not a spammy location. So also cats are wonderful. I am broadcasting to you with my upgraded room divider thingy today. I got one with more panels with gold and white. Kaylee, my cat, has already poked several holes in it with her claws because cats. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I will tell you how I am feeling today. I am feeling Good from my day off yesterday. A little overwhelmed about the weekend. Weekend is always a busy time for me. And excited about recommitting to my NaNoWriMo project. It is more than halfway through the month. I am definitely behind. But I am continuing to show up. Often by this time, I've just given up because I feel so behind and so stressed. But at this time, I am continuing to do the NaNoWriMo thing, at least to chug along. And I feel like if it means if I write, consistently and I don't hit the goal, that's still a big win for me. So I am choosing to not grade myself pass fail on this and just to keep going. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And as you saw, I am indeed attempting to stay hydrated. So let's pull a card for everyone for the week. Then I'll get to everybody's individual cards. I'm reading today with Tarot of the Cloisters. Our card for today is 10 of Pentacles, and it is kind of reversey. Reversals on a round deck, it's always an adventure because round. So, how can you make sure you have an upright deck? You really can't. So this is the 10 of Pentacles. I'd like that to be in a little better focus for you guys. Maybe that helped. I want Instagram-y friends to be able to see it too. In reverse. So what this really means is if we have been thinking, or perhaps we haven't been thinking, in terms of the legacy we will leave on this planet. And I also want to talk about, like, what does legacy mean? It doesn't have to mean, sometimes I feel like we have this, like, kind of overproductivity culture thing of, like, your legacy has to mean you doing great things, whatever great things mean, and, like, leaving, perhaps art and creations behind, or being some kind of world leader or something. And, sometimes the legacy we leave, it's enough for it to just be kindness, to just be that we showed up on this planet and we're good to people, we're good to each other, kind of thing. 10 of Pentacles in reversed really means that maybe we have not been thinking about that. Maybe instead of thinking about kind of grander things like our life's purpose, which again doesn't have to be something big and stressful, but is still real, we have just been living day to day. There's just a sense of just getting by rather than being able to live out our lives purposefully and make our connections count and everything. Does anyone else feel that way? Do you feel like you have been living your life kind of day to day and trying to just get by and keep your head above water rather than focus on what mark you want to leave on the world? I have to say, I feel that way lately. And I'm a very busy person. It could just be me. Anna says, oh, yes. Brittany says, NaNoWriMo, I'm still 16,000 words behind, but trying so hard to write every day. I'm right in the same boat as you, Brittany. I'm like at the point where I need to be writing at least like 4,000 words a day in order to finish, to hit the 50K goal. By the way, if you're hearing me talk about NaNoWriMo and you're like, what is this? NaNoWriMo is an abbreviation for National Novel Writing Month. And it is a goal of writing a novel, which is 50,000 words in 1 month and 30 days. And, a bunch of people try to do this every year, and it's really fun. It's really creative. And I think there's a lot of gains to be had whether or not you cross the finish line, but I have never crossed the finish line and I'd really like to. So here we go. A couple people are agreeing with that feeling of the 10 of Pentacles reverse, that feeling of like, yes, I feel like I'm just getting by rather than think about my legacy. So here's my advice for all of us. I really would love to see every single one of us think this week about what very small things we could do to refocus on our purpose. We have choices in this world, and sometimes, yes, crappy things do happen. Hey, Ondine, thanks for tuning in. Hello. Sometimes crappy things do happen. Sometimes we do get overwhelmed. Sometimes all we can do is drag ourselves through one day at a time. And I'm here to tell you that's okay. You don't have to feel shame about that. You don't always have to be hustling. Life is to be lived, not a to-do list. But even so, I do find that for me, it makes me feel better when I take even a few moments of every day to reconnect with like what I feel my purpose on this planet is. And it can literally be a few moments. You know what I mean? For me, sometimes it's literally just me taking a walk and asking the universe to reconnect me. And inevitably when I'm walking, I get that walking meditation and I get to thinking a little bit, and it puts me in a better headspace. Sometimes on days like today's a very busy day for me. And indeed, some of the things I'm doing probably are about my life purpose. I would argue that this is partly about my life purpose because I really want to create connection and healing with people, but it's all pre-scheduled, right? So it kind of does feel like, okay, I just have to get through my schedule. So I want to ask you to look at your days when you feel that way and ask, is there any way, what can I do? What small tweak, not big things, not big stressful things that I can do to make it feel more meaningful to me? It's all about those baby steps and those baby tweaks. Baby tweaks, a real word. All right. I had a couple people join with meows. So I'm going to begin reading for everyone after one more sip of coffee. The best kind of witch is a caffeinated witch. So I actually worked with the Empress for, like the better part of a month once. Maybe longer. I needed to, she just kept coming up for me, the Empress, the tarot card, and the major arcana that really embodies fertility and creativity and practical nurturing, mom stuff. But I don't want to make it all mommy because that's a little reductive, right? I'm not someone who plans to become a mother, but the Empress has been a big force in my life as someone who is a creator and someone who does take care of myself and others, I really needed that energy in my life, obviously, because the card kept coming up again and again. And I popped her on my altar and I made offerings to her every day. And a very common offering was coffee. I'd have a little coffee for myself. I give a little coffee to the Empress. We all need caffeine to get us through. Hey, Pauline, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so if you would like a card pulled to get your name on the list, all you have to do is drop a cat emoji in the chat or write the word meow. That is a secret code to let me know to pull a card for you. For now, I am pulling a card for you, Judith. Oh, I see we've got a lovely Twitch spammer. I will be banning that person. Don't worry. Sorry about that, everyone. Undine says meowing. You switched from Instagram to Facebook, it looks like. By the way, I broadcast this in multiple places every day. If one is acting a little wonky, chances are good another one isn't. I am on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Sassafras Tarot. So you should be able to find me that way. All right, Judith, here is a card for you. Oh my God, how hilarious is this? I just felt compelled to talk about how I was working with the Empress. Judith, your card is the Empress. This is really funny because I don't know. It's like one of those weird coincidences that you get sometimes when you're a reader. Because I didn't have any real reason to tell you all that I had been working with the Empress like a year ago, other than that my coffee made me think of it. But here we are. The Empress. Let's talk about that nurturing energy. Let's talk about, I want to talk about the power you wield and the way you wield power, because I think people mistake female people and more femme presenting people as being perhaps less powerful because there is more subtlety and more nuance in how they wield their power. It's less brash. And this is a real error that society makes. This is about wielding your power with subtlety and with wisdom, and alongside this practical awareness that you can't do 10 million things in a day, and self-care is important, and nurturing those you love is also important. So rather than this kind of toxic masculinity values that the patriarchy has put upon us, yes, it's one of those mornings, everybody. I will be talking about toxic masculinity and the patriarchy. Feminist Witchy Weather Report with Rory. Rather than focusing on this kind of toxic masculinity value that society has, which is produce, just be productive all the time, which, let's be honest, that's a value, because for many years, men had women doing things like child rearing and doing a lot of the practical work around the house to keep households running. So they were able to be singly focused. And the Empress has this really much more holistic perspective of like, yes, you can reach your goals and you don't have to sacrifice taking care of yourself to do it. And you don't have to sacrifice being loving and nurturing in order to do it. You don't just have to turn into an empty shell of goals. You can go after your goals in a holistic way. And that is the message that the Empress has for you today. So I want you to, I don't know, just kind of think about that this week. Think about how you're going after your goals. Allow yourself to do so in a nuanced way. Allow yourself to do more than one thing at a time, because that's life, right? The Empress is a multitasker, but the Empress also knows that there are times when she needs to just sit back and close her eyes and relax. So all of those things are true. That's the Empress, man. Complex and beautiful truths. Hello, I see Hannah tuning in. I see the Zen Lunatic tuning in. Hello, what an awesome handle. Okay, Ondine says, I think I missed the card of the week. Well, we had a couple people just tune in, so I will rehash for you. Our card of the week this week for everyone is the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. And my question to you is, does anyone else feel like they are, rather than thinking about the mark they want to leave on the world, rather than working towards a legacy, just getting by, just keeping their head above water day to day, right? Like just doing their best to get through, rather than even being able to have those kind of higher aspirations, right? Like thinking about Maslow's pyramid, where sometimes we just have to be focused at the baseline, bottom of that pyramid, and making sure that our very basic needs are met. And if you feel that way, then my question for you is, what small ways can you reconnect yourself day to day with, you know, what you really believe your life purpose is? Or if that's a stressful question, what small ways can you make your days feel more meaningful to you? And I don't want you to put a lot of pressure. I don't want this to become a big to-do list. I just want you to ask yourself if there are very small ways you can reconnect with, like, the core of who you are, the things that make you unique as a human being. I just want to ask you to give yourself like a couple minutes during the day to do that this week and see if that helps. I certainly plan to. Oh, the Zen Lunatic has a name, and it is Steve. Brittany over on Twitch says, hi, Steve, in parentheses, the Zen Lunatic. Oh, hi, Steve. Oh, it's you. So, oh, I love that. Brittany says, reconnecting with the core of who I am is one of the core reasons I do NaNoWriMo. Big mood, and me too. And often I have had to not do NaNoWriMo because November is often a busy month time-wise for me and a rough month money-wise for me. So that's like a perfect storm of stress that often I don't do NaNoWriMo. And every year I want to. And every year I have to ask myself, you know, will I be able to commit to it, or is it unrealistic? And this year I'm trying, even though maybe it is unrealistic, because it's just time. It's just past time for me to show up for that side of myself. And maybe you can relate to that. Maybe it just feels like it's past time for you to show up for the core of you, for your heart, and to just figure out how to do that, because you're not going to wait forever, which I think is, you know, really, really empowering. Patty Bell says, legacy is my focus every single day. Yeah, you are amazing at walking that line, Patty Bell, of doing the practical stuff that has to get done, but seeing it all through this lens of what, you know, how am I affecting this universe? How am I leaving a legacy, both for those I love and for those I have never met? All right. So as always, if you would like a card pulled, the way to get me to pull you a card is to put a cat in the chat. Drop a cat emoji in there, or if you can't access the emoji keyboard, or if you just want to type the word meow. That is our secret code. Let's see who else is in need of a card. I know a couple people meowed. We've got Anna on deck, then Noreen. And let me see who else has tuned in and dropped a cat. Anna, Noreen, and Brittany. And I know there's a couple more of you. Don't worry, I'll get to you. But 3 is what will fit in my head. Oh, Pauline, you moved over to YouTube. Thank you. Hey, while you're there, would you mind subscribing to me on YouTube? My YouTube channel is so small that I don't have a fancy link yet. You know what I mean? I don't have the youtube.com/Sassafras Tarot. I need to have 100 followers first. So if you get a sec, would you please subscribe to me on YouTube? If you search Sassafras Tarot on YouTube, I will come up. And then if you subscribe, it will make it easier for me. So thank you in advance. All right. We had Anna, Noreen, and Brittany. Oh, I just got a notification that you did subscribe to me on YouTube. Thank you. You're wonderful. All right. Anna, here is your card. We have the Six of Staves in reverse. So this explains a little bit of that ugh feeling, because this really is a card about not getting recognition, though you actually know you deserve some recognition. Rather than receiving accolades for what we're doing, or even just receiving validation for what we're doing, for the services we are providing for others, for who we are and what we bring to the table, it just feels like life has become thankless for you. And so here's what I want to ask you to do as a result of that, because this is a bummer card. Here are the questions to ask yourself. How can I give myself that recognition? How can I validate myself? Especially if it feels like there is no time to do anything, then keep your head above water. In my opinion, like having done it both ways, that actually means that it's an emergency and it is time for you to stop everything and take some care of yourself. So what would it look like to stop everything and take some care of yourself today? I recognize that you may not be able to devote the whole day to it, but what would, 20 minutes of let me just take care of myself look like? Would it be some desperately needed self-care task, like, like taking a hot shower or eating a hot meal? Or would it be something like writing in your journal for 20 minutes, like in a positive way, about things you are grateful for in yourself? I'm not talking about one of those like, I'm grateful to the universe, I'm grateful I have hot running water, life could be so much worse. I'm not talking about that. I mean, do that if it makes you feel good. But I want you to validate yourself, because the Six of Staves really indicates this unhealthy version of selflessness when it is reversed. It means that you are not getting the attention and praise you deserve. Because I just recently saw a meme about this, about how we call things attention seeking as if it's like this very toxic trait. And the truth is that every human needs attention. And the meme said, if we replace the idea of attention seeking with support seeking, what would it change about our perspective on people's mental health when we use those terms? You need support and you deserve support, and you need attention and deserve attention, because every human does. When babies don't get attention, they die. They don't thrive. We all need attention and support. So I'm asking you to find ways to give yourself that loving attention if you're not getting it externally. Absolutely, like, seek it externally too. You know what I mean? Like, tell friends and loved ones that you need some support and that you need to hear that you've been doing a good job. Absolutely do that if you have people that you can bring that to, but don't miss the opportunity to give that attention and love to yourself. Okay, Noreen, I'm going to pull a card for you. I'm sorry if the sound is weird on Instagram. A couple people now have joined on Instagram and switched to another platform. I never know exactly what's gonna happen. Like, every week it seems like one platform's acting wonky. So like I said, always feel free to swap yourself over to a different platform. Okay, we have Noreen, then Brittany on deck. I'll take a moment to say, by the way, I offer these readings freely every Saturday. Most Saturdays. Last Saturday I had to take off because I was running an event. And you are welcome, though never required, to throw some love in my virtual tip jar. It's up on the screen if you're watching most places. If you're on Instagram, it's in the link in my bio. It's Venmo at Rory Kelly or PayPal.me/Rory Kelly. Appreciated, never expected. But I do forget to say it sometimes, and I'm reminding myself to say it today. And also, if you enjoy this, I have a podcast called Sassafras Cast. I would love for you to subscribe to that and get like kind of a bigger dose of this kind of content if you enjoy it. Hey, Mary Jane. Oh, Mary Jane says, sorry I'm late. Endless dental appointments. Everyone put some light around Mary Jane, please. Nobody likes going to the dentist, and going to the dentist endlessly sounds terrible. Please put some light around Mary Jane, everyone. All right, Noreen, you are next. Here is your card, Noreen. We're getting so many reversals today. That's so interesting. because we're really like it's a round deck, so you're gonna get some, but like really, like I've been pulling cards and they are just like straight upside down reversed. We have the Fool reversed. There's really a lot of energy, and this is your reading for you. I don't want to make it about everyone else, because you deserve your individual reading, but I just want to say you're not alone here. We have a lot of energy of people not feeling like they're able to work on the things that matter to them, and the Fool reversed really feels like an abbreviated new beginning, like or an aborted new beginning. In other words, like not getting to start something fresh and new that is important to you, even though you want to, even though the energy is there, because maybe you don't think there's time, or maybe you don't think it's practical enough, or maybe you're so bogged down in other concerns that you're like, I just don't have the bandwidth for this, even though the desire is there, right? It can also represent literal naivete when we have the Fool reversed. It can represent making foolish decisions, maybe leaping before we look, that kind of thing. But in the context of all the cards I've been pulling today, in general for everyone, I really feel that this is about self-denial. This is about saying no to the journey you really want to be taken, big or small, not giving yourself the permission to kind of live life with a smile on your face and see where the world takes you, because it feels like you have to be more responsible for that. And I want to ask you, if there's a way that you can make a little bit of room to be happy-go-lucky today, if there is a way you can make just a little bit of room for yourself to say, well, okay, for this small portion of the day, I am going to allow myself to dream big and not worry about whether, that is in line or wise with my responsibilities, but just to allow my mind to wander. I really want to encourage you to daydream right now, because sometimes that's the first thing we need. We need to remember that a different life is possible, that there is more to life than just slogging through. So that is my encouragement to you. It is possible. You can have happiness. You can feel like life is a journey again. Hey, Savannah, thank you for tuning in. Anna's over on YouTube. I love it. People are tuning in on all different platforms today. We have Twitch, we have YouTube, we have Facebook. I'm always on all three platforms, but sometimes one is like more popular than the other. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you, Brittany. If you joined recently and would like a card, just let me know. The way to do that is to pop a cat emoji in the chat or write the word meow. Because when people ask directly for a card, I find we get spammers. So now we use a secret code, which is also cool because like secret code, that's fun, right? Okay. I thought that Brittany had a question. I scrolled up and I found that yes, it was true. Brittany says, "Oh dear tarot deck of the day, can you drop some of that cold, hard truth and give advice to fix the burnout situation?" I love that. I love that ask. That's something I love, asking the tarot cards. Often as a reader, people come to me and the questions, like the top questions I get are like, is someone going to talk to me about something? What are they going to do? Whether it's like a love relationship and it's like, is he or she going to call? Or whether it's like, a job thing where it's like, are they going to give me the promotion? And I always tell people, like, you have control over your situation. Ask the tarot card what kind of attitude you should have. Ask the tarot card what you can do that's helpful, because I want you to walk away feeling empowered, not feeling like here's what the universe wants, because free will is a friggin' thing. I can ask the tarot, is so and so going to call? Although that's a little like feels a little weird and invadey, right? If you really believe that you're getting like a direct line into someone's head, is that appropriate? I don't know, right? But what if I said, like, what's the best thing for, you and this relationship, or what's the best thing for your career right now? Then you walk away feeling empowered to take action or to change your course in a way that will work better for you. So I love that ask, Brittany. I love that cold hard truth and advice to fix the burnout situation. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got here. We have the Page of Staves in reverse. I'm going to directly talk about Nanowrimo because I know you and I are both doing it. And we just talked in the comments about how that's a way we create, connect to our creative core. The Page of Staves is about creativity, and it is about, leaving that mark you want to leave on the world. It is about passion. The Page of Staves reversed really is about aborted passion. This is a theme. We have a theme, man. Everyone's burnt out and bummed out today. And I just want to say, Like, I love you all, and I just want to let us all know it's going to be okay. It's not always going to feel that way. But so the Page of Staves reversed really tells me that there are things you want to do, but maybe you can't even feel the desire right now, right? Maybe it's so hard for you to just kind of move through your day and get done what you want to get done, your commitments to yourself and others, that you can't even think about, what do I want? Right. It's not even that that you don't have room to be impulsive. It's like you can't even access the desire. And that is burnout, like, in a nutshell, right? So funny. You asked the tarot cards what to do about burnout, and the tarot is like, hey, you're burned out. Like classic tarot rudeness. But so let me ask you the following questions. What are some things that have made you feel lit up and excited about life? I don't mean like in the last week, I mean ever. Like, do you remember the first thing that made you feel excited about being a writer? Do you remember the first thing that made you feel excited about another person in your life, about like, wow, I want to see that person again? Do you remember what it like times that you have felt lit up, that you have felt like, I can't wait for next Tuesday because blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to recommend that you like think about those things and ask yourself if there are any ways you can like deliberately inject some of that into your life right now. Deliberately inject some inspiration into your life, because burnout is an inspiration deficit. And I don't want to make this into a to-do list item. I don't want to make it be like, oh, now I have to find ways to get inspired. Like, that's exhausting. I just want to ask you to do this as a practice and ask like, oh, are there small things I could make my life a tiny, tiny bit more like that today? And I'm also going to recommend a practice that has really helped me in the past, which I found this practice on the internet, and the person described it as writing a very personal ad. And it was not an ad seeking a partner or whatever. It was like in their journal about the things they want. And literally they just wrote the words I want and completed the sentence again and again and again. And that can be really powerful when we're feeling so burned out that we're disconnected from what we even want, when it feels like all we want is a break or a respite, as we try to say here, rather than a break, because we don't want broken bones. I know I am amongst more than one person, and it has happened to me where I've been like, I want a break, and literally broke my foot. So yes, a respite. But you do want more things than a respite. And once you get the respite, you will remember the things you want. So please take care of yourself as much as you are able to in this time. And if you get a chance, journal, like, write the word I want 20 times and complete the sentence and see what happens. Okay. All right. I see. I know I have a couple more people to read for. I have Anna. Did I pull a card for you yet, Anna? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. My gosh, no, I did. It was the Six of Wands reverse. I remember. I'm running on a little sleep, y'all. Anna just gave like an extra cat emoji for good measure. Okay, Patty Bell. Who else do we have here? Ondine. Pauline. And I think there's one more person. Is there? Patty Bell, Ondine, Pauline, Mary Jane, Savannah. Okay, that's a lot of people. Hi, Renuka. I will add you to the list of people, and please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Renuka. My brain wants to say Renuka. If I'm wrong, please tell me, because I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. That's important to me. I will add you to the list. I've got a few people on deck before you. So next up, Patty Bell, Anna, Ondine. And don't worry, if you have asked for a reading, it's coming. Don't worry. Oh, I got it right. Thank you. Oh, wow. Angie says, got the Three of Cups 2 days in a row, either not getting the message or I cannot shuffle. I feel the creative being clogged up. Wow. 3 of Cups 2 days in a row. When I think of 3 of Cups, what I really think about is reunion with the people who make you feel like you. I feel that energy. There's an air of celebration as well. And I know you have been going on like quite a journey around like your mental health and kind of reframing a lot of things in a really positive way. And I wonder what it would be like to reconnect with some of the people who in the past have shown up for you and have been a part of supporting you now in this new context, because you have a very new context. You have like fresh eyes for the world, it seems, and seeing what you can learn from those reconnections, like seeing what else that recontextualizes for you. I wonder if that's why the Three of Cups is coming up for you at this time. Feel free, by the way, if any of you are like do readings for yourselves and are like, oh, what does this mean? Feel free to bring that to the Witchy Weather Report. I'm always interested to talk shop. Okay, let me get back to the readings. Patty Bell, this card, my dear, is for you. Patty Bell, we have the Three of Staves. And the Three of Staves, let me show you kind of the way the Three of Staves came out, which is kind of like this, more sideways than reverse, but definitely feels like a stop short. So continuing with this theme that literally everyone seems to be experiencing in November, my goodness. The Three of Staves really is about like walking through a portal, moving on to the next phase of your life in a really positive way, like taking an opportunity, seizing the day. That's what the Three of Staves is about. And when we get it sideways like this, there's really the sense of a stop short, like you're taking, like there's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back energy. And there's the energy of like, you know, when you're like trying to leave your house and they're keeping reasons you can't. Maybe this is just me as a disorganized person, but like I was trying to get to a gig the other day, and I'll be honest, I was feeling a little burnt out. I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to do the gig, but that doesn't mean I cancel it because it's my job, you know? And I just kept having to go back. Like I, you know, couldn't find my keys, and then I found my keys and I had put my cell phone down, you know, and then like I realized like, oh, I didn't like take my second microphone and put it in my guitar case like I need to. Like there just kept being like little things that I was like, oh, I can't leave because of blah, blah, blah. And the Three of Staves in this position makes me think of that, Patty Bell, that energy of like, oh, I'm ready to go except for this one little thing. Oh, and this like things keep coming up to stop you short from feeling like you can truly cross through the portal and begin making progress. And the only advice I have for you is to sit with that energy. You know, sometimes it really is like, oh, there's just a lot of little crap on my plate right now, or a lot of big crap, as the case may be. Sometimes it's a sign that there is resistance, right? Like for me the other day, yeah, I definitely was disorganized and forgetting things. Was I disorganized and forgetting things because I was a little burnt out and kind of wanted to take care of myself instead of leaving the house? Yeah, probably. You know what I mean? Like that's how that resistance manifested in me, kind of subconsciously or whatever. And so therefore, you know, I give this back to you as a thing that you can ask yourself, like, where is this resistance coming from? How do I feel it inside my body? Have I checked in with that? You know, that kind of thing. And ask yourself if there is something that maybe you keep feeling like you want to move forward, but there's a part of you that's not fully on board, and what that might be. That is my question for you, my loving question for you, because I know that's like homework that I just gave you. All right, let's see. I had Patty Bell. I've already forgotten Ondine and Pauline. Ondine, let me pull a card for you right now. And believe if you came and like have left a cat in the chat or asked for a card, don't worry. I'm coming to you. A lot of people tuned in today, and I'm really, really grateful for that, because I had to take a week off last week. I always worry when I take a week off because consistency is so important, especially in the online world. And I'm so grateful that you all are still here now that I'm back. Thank you. You mean the world to me. Thank you for being in my community. Ondine, here is a card for you. Ondine, your card. Oh, look, it's the first upright card we've gotten all day. Oh, it's the Five of Swords, though. So there's some feelings. All right, let's talk about the Five of Swords, because there is a real sense of discord here. There is a sense of strife and struggle, of literal discord, disagreement with other humans, and in particular, like power struggle, you know, like more than one person who thinks they're right in ways that, for whatever reason, like compromise is not working, either because of like kind of the bluster energy of one or more parties involved, or just because you're on such different pages that it's like you're speaking different languages. And there's this real sense of like, deception and betrayal that comes with the Five of Swords. You know, someone else takes an action and you're just like, really? Like, did you even think twice about how that affected me? And so there is a little bit of the same energy of the Five of Cups where you feel like, wow, I have something to grieve. And the difference is the Five of Swords. There's a little more empowerment because you probably are feeling like resentful and angry. And I know it's weird for me to categorize resentment and anger as empowering emotions, but what is empowering about them is that you recognize your selfhood and you recognize that you don't deserve to be violated. You recognize that maybe a violation has taken place, even if it's a small one. And you are ready to either like at least stand up for yourself, which you don't do because it will get you results necessarily. You do it to show yourself that you are worth standing up for. And or like to make choices. You know, if you're like, okay, this person messed me around in a way that didn't feel good, you now have an opportunity to evaluate. You have an opportunity to say, is this person someone I should trust with a 10-foot pole again in my life? Or what are the characteristics of this person? In what ways did I allow this into my life? Not for self-blame purposes, but simply because it happens, right? Like we get into patterns of attracting certain kinds of people who will take advantage of us one way or another, and we owe it to ourselves and no one else to ask ourselves, what energy am I putting out that's allowing people to feel like they can do this to me, right? And usually it's a tweak, it's a shift of, um, you know, learning how to speak about ourselves less reductively, learning how to stand our ground just a tiny bit more in conversations, those kind of things. So I'm just leaving you these things to sit with because there is obviously already a sense of resentment and betrayal. And I want to let you know you're allowed to feel that way. And I want to let you know you're allowed to strategize around it and that your strategy doesn't have to be all other focused. It can be empowering to say, you did something wrong to me and I'm allowed to feel bad about that, because it's empowering to not make everything our fault. Yet at the same time, it can be empowering to say, even so, I now know that knowledge is power, and I am going to plan to not have to feel this way again in this situation. So that's kind of the way I want to frame it. Okay. Pauline, pulling a card for you, and I think you had a particular question. And I see that Savannah said good meowing. So Savannah, I think you're next after Pauline. Let me see what Pauline had to say. It was down here. Okay. My ask for the cards. Keep working on the thing I've been or switch directions. Eternal quest. Aw, you're more wonderful. Thank you. Aw, thank you. Okay, here's my answer. Undine says, holy hell, this continues into the week. I'm so sorry. Hello, Farjana. I hope I'm saying your name right. Please tell me if I'm not. It's important to me to pronounce people's names correctly. Hello, thank you for tuning in. If you would like me to pull a card for you, the secret code that we use is to put a cat emoji in the chat or to write the word meow. And we do that because when we just say pull a card, often we get spammers, and I don't want you guys to have to deal with spammers. So we use a secret code. Yeah. Patty Bell says, sideways 3 of staves, constant regrouping because of caregiving. It is the way it is. It's really true. Caregiving is really hard and it takes so much out of you, and just recognizing it as a part of your life. Honestly, I have so much admiration for you because you're such an effective person and someone who is so legacy focused, even though this is really something that just it jams up a lot of your life, and it's real, and you're allowed to feel frustrated. It's very thankless and frustrating being a caregiver. Okay. Pauline, here is your card. Your card is the Hermit. The tarot is just bouncing the question back at you like any good therapist. What do you think about it? Because you have the answer. Your question was, should I continue with the thing I've been doing or should I switch? This is the eternal quest. Right now, your task is to ask yourself some questions to get clear of this, not to ask for advice, because that will probably actually muddy the water, because everyone's always willing to give you an opinion on what you should be doing, right? And it's time to seek your own opinion, your own counsel. And the question I want you to ask yourself is, what do I most want? I don't necessarily mean what do I feel like in this moment, because sometimes it can be a form of like self-betrayal to keep bouncing around, so we never get an opportunity to really try hard at something. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's necessarily the case, because other times it can be a form of self-betrayal to keep working on something that isn't working instead of moving forward, right? So I'm asking you what you want, and I don't just mean like, what do I want right this minute? I want French fries. I do want some French fries, but I'm asking you, like, what do you want? What's important to you? What mark do you want to leave on the world? What do you believe your life purpose is? And if you kind of don't believe in like life purpose or don't know what that is, what do you want your life purpose to be? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be perceived and celebrated? And I want you to ask those questions and then take some time to think about which of these things is going to most help you with that. Which of those things is most in line with like you steering your own personal ship through life. Because the Hermit tells me that the answer is in you. Your own light is the light to shine in this case. It is your turn. Sorry. Okay, let's see. I know I have a few other people. I know I have Mary Jane and Savannah. Let me get you guys. And then I know there's others. Don't worry, I'll get to y'all. Mary Jane, I'm pulling a card for you. Here is your card. Your card is the Three of Pentacles. Not the first time you've gotten this card, I think. The Three of Pentacles is a card about helping hands for starters. There's this really, there's this really clear thing here about someone like literally offering some pentacles to another person. And it's about an exchange. It's not just about, it's not like there are other cards that mean things like giving alms to people or supporting causes that you love. It's about an energy exchange. And recognizing that every transaction in our life is an energy exchange, and that many things in our life are transactions. And I don't mean this in a reductive way. I mean it in a healthy way, right? Like when we show up for our friends and like give them our time and energy, and then later they show up for us and give us their time and energy in return, that's a transaction, and it's a healthy transaction. And it's not like it has to be 100% even all the time. It's a longer term transaction where you're both showing up for each other, right? Similarly, in our work lives, we have transactions, right? I am a professional musician. I'm a professional tarot reader, and I was brought up by my grandmother, who didn't bring me up, my mom brought me up, but my grandmother was a professional reader for many years. And one of the things she said that stuck with me was there needs to be an exchange. I am giving of myself when I read cards. So yes, there does need to be an exchange. Some people think you shouldn't charge for readings, and it's not right for you to always go out giving of yourself and receiving nothing in return. And that is why I'm a professional. And so that's important. You know what I mean? If you feel that you are giving of yourself and not receiving in return, that's something to examine at this time. And it's also a way to consider that there are exchanges that are not super direct, right? There are exchanges that are not fully barter or fully like, I give you money, you give me a thing, right? And sometimes it really is like, there's two things to consider here. When you're trying to get something done in your life and move forward, there's DIY, which people talk about a lot. And there's WTC, which is write the check. Sometimes spending a little bit of money to make your life easier is really, really worth it. Whether that means hiring an expert to consult with, which is often something that the Three of Pentacles represents, or whether it means like, spending money so that you don't have to do things, so that you are pulled a little bit out of drudgery and allow yourself to focus on what shines. So that is my question for you. I want you to ask yourself as you go through your day, what exchanges are being made and how you feel about them, and if there are any tweaks you want to make. Okay. Savannah, then Renuka. I see some comments. Let me scroll down and take a look at these comments. Oh, crap. I did not see your question, Mary Jane. Let me go up and look at it. Where is your question? I'm sorry. There's a lot of comments today, which is lovely. Oh, your question was, where will I be work-wise by spring? So I just gave you a big lecture and it wasn't entirely relevant to your question. Where will I be work-wise by spring? Three of Pentacles, to me, it does not indicate staying in the same position. There definitely is a change there. Let me pull another card for you because I didn't really pull that card with that intention of that question. I see the Knight of Swords. So what this tells me is that you have some control over this. You don't have full control over it because we don't have full control over anything in our lives, right? But this is about you going after things with your own truth and your own vision. The Knight of Swords is someone who is seeking the truth and also seeking to get his point across. So I want you to ask yourself, as you look for a job, where can you get a job that is more in line with your own truth? that doesn't feel like you're banging your head against the wall of people with like very different ideologies and than you, that make you feel put down, for example. A job where your voice is valued. And to embody that throughout your search. I know this is something that's meaningful for you. That's like top of mind at the moment. The Knight of Swords is who you want to be. And that means not being hung up on always being perfect, making it more of a priority to communicate than to communicate perfectly. Showing up for yourself by opening your mouth and letting what happens. And trusting also that like you have the drive and the power behind your words to back up whatever you're saying, even if something that comes out of your mouth surprises you. And even if you don't, you're worried that you won't find the right words, that you actually probably do have enough wisdom to get your point across, even if it's not exactly how you imagined. It also suggests, like looking at things that are in fields involving things like communication. So I do see change. And the change is very much about you. Oh, Mary Jane says, yes, and connecting with people I've worked well for and with in the past, that's really healthy. And that's really big, nice Knight of Swords energy, like using your resources wisely and speaking up for what you need. Okay, so next up we have Renuka. Or did I do Savannah yet? We have Savannah, then Renuka. After that, okay, KK is saying, can I ask, will she reach out to me? It's funny that you asked that because I just had a little conversation about that. Life is about free will, and I don't usually answer questions of will someone call me or will someone reach out to me. I will gladly pull a card for you about like kind of what should your approach be with this person. And the reason I do that is because free will is a thing. And there are lots of different factors at play. And if you really want to get in touch with someone, you really want to talk to them, the best advice is to do it. The best advice is to go ahead and be the person who reaches out yourself instead of sitting on your hands. But I will definitely pull a card for you. You're on deck behind a couple of people. Savannah is coming up next. Then Renuka, and then Angie. That is all the people I think I have. Savannah, Renuka, Angie, KK. If I missed you, please let me know. If you're like, no, I asked for a reading and you didn't give me one yet, please let me know because I will add you to that list. I will confess, I'm a little under-caffeinated today. You've seen me sipping caffeine throughout this. So it's really possible that I made a mistake. I'm human. Savannah, here is your card, my love. Okay, your card is the Nine of Swords, and it's mostly upright. However, it's like a little bit this way, which, am I mirrored right now? Is it more like that? Yeah. So it indicates, this kind of weird placement of it indicates that this is an energy that is kind of stopping you a little bit from moving forward. You're able to move forward, but it feels like your life is a slog right now. And the thing that is slowing you down is actually internal. It's this sense of what ifs. Nine of Swords is the nightmare card. Traditionally, it's often associated with literal nightmares or with poor sleep. Raise your hands if you've had like super poor sleep lately. I was like up half the night last night, which is why I'm caffeinating so much today. The Nine of Swords really is about our personal fear stories and getting lost in worry and getting lost in the what ifs and the way that those things hold us back. So the reason things feel like a slog right now is because instead of just being able to uncomplicatedly take action, you are like these fear stories keep coming up for you. These what if stories keep coming up for you. And this may also look like the form of like things from your past coming up to haunt you and you going like, oh man, I don't want that again. How can I change myself so I don't make that happen again? If you've ever lain awake, like, why did I say that thing 15 years ago that was so embarrassing? I can't believe I said it. Like the ship has sailed. You can't do anything about it, but you're still lying awake thinking about it. I certainly have. And that's kind of the energy of the Nine of Swords. It's these feelings of like things we can't control that are just making us like too nervous and too like we're our mind is going in circles too much to focus on positive action. And so what I actually am going to encourage you to do is allow yourself to feel that way. If you're feeling like all this anxiety and stress over something, I don't want to let I don't want you to let it stop you short, but I do want to give you permission to like go ahead and honor those feelings. Like maybe it's time to like get out some pen and paper and like write down all the worry stories that are happening for you and get them all on paper. You know, sometimes just putting them on paper allows us to have a bit of a reality check. For me, sometimes I'm writing something in my journal and I'm like blah 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 blah, and I'm like reading back, you know, my last paragraph, and I'm like, that's not a thing to worry about. That's like nonsense, you know? And I'm not saying that your worries are nonsense. It might be that you're like, oh, that is a good thing to think about. That's a real worry. You know, I have a right to be concerned about that. Let me decide how to plan around it. You know what I mean? Sometimes getting it on paper allows us to kind of concretely analyze, am I just ruminating, or is there something real here to consider? And it's always worth acknowledging that you're allowed to feel the way you feel, you know, and making space for it. So that's going to be my advice to you. Like, show up for your worry. I don't mean get lost in your worry. I mean, like, allow yourself to have a session of like, yeah, here's what I'm worried about. Let me just put it all on paper. Let me get it down. Let me think about it. Okay. Who else? I got Mary Jane. Renuka. Okay, you have been waiting. I got you. Renuka, your card of the week, oh, this is the second time this has come up today, which is interesting, is the Six of Staves in reverse. So I want to talk about this energy of feeling that you are not getting the attention and vindication that you deserve, feeling that you are putting out your energy and perhaps even doing your best work. And I don't just mean this in a career context, but it could be that you are showing up as your best self. You are bringing the good energy. You are doing your due diligence. You are doing what you should be doing. And actually, even though it's challenging for you, you're doing a great job. And yet you feel like you are not getting the accolades you deserve. You are not getting, other people are not seeing how much work you're putting in, or if they are, they're just treating it like, oh, well, whatever, I can expect that, rather than, you know, celebrating you, celebrating what you're doing, because we all deserve celebration. We all deserve acknowledgement. And I think that's really the key thing that's missing for you right now is acknowledgement. It is very tiring to continue showing up as your best self when the people around you are not giving you that acknowledgement that that's what you're doing. And so the question I want to ask of you is, how can you give yourself that acknowledgement? How can you show up for yourself right now? And how can you maybe look back on your day at the end of each day and like honestly pat yourself on the back a little bit, like acknowledge what a good job you're doing, acknowledge how hard you are trying, even if no one sees it. And I also want to encourage you, and this might put you out of your comfort zone, to go ahead and give voice to that, you know, to if there are people in your life with whom you have been trying hard and they have not seemed to notice or appreciate it, to give voice to it, to say, hey, I've been doing my best here. Here's what I have been doing. I've been really working hard to make this work. And I really do need a little bit of acknowledgement for it. You know, it's not easy for me. And I need a little appreciation like any other person would. And just see how that lands. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes we just really have to start a conversation and advocate for ourselves. All right. Let's see. Got Renuka, got Savannah, Angie. It's time for your card. Then we have you, KK. And if I forgot anyone, please speak now. I don't want you to forever hold your peace. Let me know. I want to thank you all for coming to the Witchy Weather Report today. We're going a tiny bit over today, which is fine with me. And just thank you for being in this space with me. I hope you will show up. I do this every week, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can always show up here. I have a virtual tip jar. Tips are deeply appreciated, but never expected. So I thank you. A lot of you who are tuning in have been like kind and generous, and I'm really thankful for that. Like over the time that I've been doing this Witchy Weather Report, which is, I don't know, a little less than a year, I think. And I also want to let you know that I have a podcast. It's called Sassafras Cast, and I put out a podcast once a month, and it is on topics like these. It is not a tarot podcast per se, but it is really about like living your best life through the use of kind of this like fun, witchy energy, you know, turning this kind of energy and these ideas into something practical to make your life better. Okay. All right. Pulling a card for Savannah and then UKK. Did I pull a card for Savannah? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like a little out of it today. I'll just be honest. I'm not my best self. I am running on very few hours of sleep. Thank you, full moon eclipse. I think I did pull a card for Savannah. My goodness. KK, this is your card. Your card is the King of Vessels in reverse. So here's what this tells me. I know you asked if someone was going to reach out to you. And the answer that the cards are giving you is that you may be blocking yourself from feeling good and from being happy in this situation by kind of letting yourself get stuck in your feelings a little bit. Now, does that mean that the right thing is to move on from this person, or that the right thing is to like pick up the phone and call them? I can't tell you that. You can tell you that, right? Like you're the person who knows the situation most intimately. But I will tell you that the King of Vessels in reverse really indicates that our emotions are starting to rule us rather than us ruling hand in hand with our emotions. So we're so stuck in what we're feeling. And I want to tell you, you're allowed to have your feelings. Like, you're allowed to feel your feeling. This is not me beating up on you for having feelings. But it's just a sense of like, you're so stuck on what you're feeling that you're not able to move forward, that you're not able to advocate for yourself, and you're not able to make great decisions because your feelings are making decisions for you rather than you making these thoughtful decisions with your feelings a part of the consideration. So what I really want to invite you to do is like allow yourself to feel the way you feel, for starters. Like, I want you to, instead of being like, oh, my stupid feelings, that never helped anybody. Don't ignore your feelings, but allow yourself to really get in touch with like, how am I feeling? How do I feel about this? What is it that what is it that I'm hoping for? And what is it that has been disappointing for me, in this exchange with this other person? And I want you to feel like you can be real, whether this is like a journal thing or this is you just like talking it out to yourself, aloud or in your mind. I want you to like kind of allow yourself to list your feelings a little bit, be with them, because it's really helpful. It is helpful to kind of give voice to our feelings, and then we know our blind spots, right? If you're feeling super, super hurt and you're feeling uncared about and unheard, it's really hard to want to like pick up the phone and reach out to someone, for example, because you're like, well, why bother, right? However, sometimes that's still what you got to do, right? So I really want you to like acknowledge what your feelings are, get in touch with them, and then make some choices with the goal of helping you feel better. Some of those might involve that other person. Some of them might just be for you, right? It might just be that you feel so bad right now that what you need is some care. Like, what you need is to maybe take a day off and just take care of yourself like a child, and be kind to yourself because you deserve kindness. Sometimes I want, sometimes I don't want to. So that's valid. Then you have mixed feelings, right? You're entitled to your mixed feelings. So I'm going to encourage you to put the power in your own hands rather than putting it in someone else's hands about how you feel. I'm going to encourage you to take some really good care of yourself so that you can make a decision that's not just about how you feel in the moment, but a decision about what's going to be best for your happiness in the long term. And you can decide, do I want to talk to this person or not? And if the answer is yes, then talk to them, then reach out, then say, hey, I've been wanting you to reach out and you haven't, so I am. And if the answer is no, actually, this person makes me feel up and down and isn't healthy for me, that's also a valid answer. And it's okay if you don't know the exact thing and you're just doing your best day to day. You know what I mean? But I really encourage you to do your best with it, and by that I mean show up for yourself, to check in on how you're feeling and ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do to make this a little better for me? Sometimes I get mad. It's been years. So that's really, it's a complicated situation, and it's not right for me, the tarot reader that you've never met, to be like, here's what you should do. I don't think that's healthy. I don't want to give that kind of armchair advice to anyone. I want you to do what you think is right in your heart. But really what the tarot is telling me is that there are so many feelings that it's getting in the way of you knowing what's right in your heart. And so that's why I'm suggesting a little bit of time to just like be with your feelings, like honor them a little bit, like get a friend to talk it out with if that's possible, because it's really worth doing that. It's worth just allowing yourself to feel the way you feel, being nice to yourself about it for a couple days, And then you might find that it's a lot easier to make choices. All right. Okay, Renukas has a clarifying question here. I want to know about my job, how hard, what I need to do. So it does seem like the Six of Wands reversed really does tell me a story about a job that is hard and that you're working hard and that you're not getting what you need. I'm going to advise you to think about that, to think about the work you're putting in and think about whether you're getting credit for the work you're putting in and if there are ways to make your work more visible. That's often a mistake we can make. We can work really hard and other parties don't know how hard we're working because we're like, no, I'm good, I got it, right? And they just keep dumping on us because they don't know how much we're struggling. So I really am going to encourage you to be open about what you need from others in your job, to ask you, to speak up and be like, hey, here's what I need, or hey, here's what I did, and I need a little recognition for that, or maybe I just need you to know that this is a challenge for me and need you to be more realistic in your expectations. And for yourself too, I really want to encourage you to have realistic expectations. I don't want you to feel that you have to run yourself ragged every single day. I know there are jobs that are like that, and so I'm not telling you like that maybe that's the way your job is. I'm not trying to tell you to magic yourself out of that situation, but try to take care of yourself if that is a situation. Like if you really feel like, man, I'm pushing so hard every day and I'm not getting any recognition, try to give that recognition to yourself. Try to give yourself breaks. Try to give yourself care around this, because it sucks to have that disconnect of working hard and not getting recognition. And at the end of the day, if that's how it feels every day, then maybe this isn't a great fit. Maybe this isn't a healthy job for you to have. And maybe that's something to think about. Maybe then you make some different plans. That's up to you to decide. You'll notice, everyone, about me as a tarot reader that I am not someone who gives a lot of prescriptive advice. I don't give a lot of like, do this, don't do this, other than like sit with it and think about it, because I'm not going to make your decisions for you. That's not healthy. I don't want to make your decisions for you. I might do it wrong because I don't know everything about you. So it's more like, hey, here's the questions to ask. Here's the direction to take yourself so that you can make a powerful, empowered choice. All right, I think I've gotten everyone today. Savannah, did I pull a card for you? Are you still watching? Don't judge me. I'm running on very little caffeine. I'm going to have some caffeine right now. I think I did, but I don't remember what it was. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Witchy Weather Report today. Usually I am a little more awake for the Witchy Weather Report, but like I said, I had a lot of insomnia last night. We had a full moon eclipse last night, so I don't know if that was a piece of it or if I just was sleeping bad, but I will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I thank you for joining me in this community. I thank you for being a part of this every week. Tune in always on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. And wherever you're watching, if you could follow, like or follow me, I'm grateful. That means a lot. Have a wonderful, everyone. Farewell.